The committee has firsthand testimony now that he was sitting in the dining room next to the Oval Office watching the attack on television. We have firsthand testimony that his daughter Ivanka went in at least twice to ask him to please stop this violence. At the same time the violent assault was happening, he's watching television. He's also calling at least one senator urging delay of the records.
And it is clear, based on what Liz Cheney revealed this morning, that someone close to Trump is talking and revealing some pretty specific information about his actions that day. It's also clear that the committee is starting to zero in on those 187 minutes that Trump was publicly silent while his supporters breached the building.
Both the chair and vice chair of the January 6th committee to find out exactly what happened on the day and to find out the level of culpability that President Donald Trump potentially had that day have come out with some big information here. But I think the question is how can this be used and where will it fit in with this investigation? I mean, because if you stop and think about it for a second, can he be guilty of dereliction of duty? Because that's what Representative Cheney was talking about there, as people came into the Oval Office and implored him over and over and over again, hey, stop this, Donald. Hey, maybe you can stop them. Maybe you can stop your followers from doing this. Hey, we need you to stop this from happening. And as it was outlined by the chair, Benny Thompson, it was about 187 minutes of the attack on the Capitol going on before that first video did come out of Donald Trump 25% telling his supporters, hey, calm down. Because that was actually what they were looking to pursue that day. As he watched it all unfold on video, maybe it was something that he wanted to see as things fell apart. So I think the question becomes, can he be guilty of it? Or do you have to combine the two? Because look, before we're talking about whether or not there was planning and pre-planning and execution of the entire event that day that was coordinated with the president, the former president, and also the people that surrounded him. We know advisor Peter Navarro has been spilling beans about the Green Bay sweep that they were planning that day. But they had 100 Republican senators and congressmen ready to try and delay the process long enough for them to put their case out there, for them to stop the certification of the new president so they could push more and more of the big lie that Donald Trump had been already pursuing since Election Day all the way up till January 6th. So they thought they had a nice opportunity. And now telling the story, I think they're trying to separate the two, trying to make it seem like, hey, so we had nothing to do with that planning of those attackers and those violent folks. We had something to do with the white collar version of subverting an election, the political way of overturning an election that was obviously lost from our side. So sure, President Trump could have walked straight from the Oval Office to a briefing room and been on television immediately to stop everything. That's bad enough. The question is, are they going to now connect that to some kind of pre-planning? And then after maybe that original version of trying to subvert the election didn't work, then as the violent folks went in, the foot soldiers, the MAGA foot soldiers, once they went in, was it then game on? And maybe that's the next stage of their defense. Yeah, sure, he kind of enjoyed it, but he didn't really want it to happen originally. He just saw it happening organically. And he sat back and watched the show. What's the big deal, dude? I think that's where it's going next, to make sure that they feel like they're separate from a huge level of criminal connection, prosecution to the violent acts on that day, and try to paint it as simply, hey, we were sitting back trying to have a way to subvert the election by political means, which doesn't sound very good, but which actually might convince enough people to think, well, they didn't do anything that bad. They weren't on the ground pushing through the doors and breaking windows and vowing to kill Nancy Pelosi and hang Mike Pence. That was those other guys. We were trying to do it the nice, calm, old-fashioned way of overturning democracy. The question is do we support that? The bottom line here is that the idea of him not being very forthcoming with changing things and getting in front of the camera, or not very eager to do that stuff, may not be what sticks. I have a feeling they have more as they're uncovering things. The January 6th committee, I feel they might have more that'll connect exactly how it was planned and put together, more so than it's just how he didn't do anything after. That could be the icing. Hopefully the cake is what he planned.